Episode 3, y'all. All right, let's get into it. So, I have a general idea for each of these episodes, but I also have a lot of stuff that I just need to share one, it's to help you see some perspective of stuff that really works. And what works for me will work for you. Now, I know I have some different programming than you and all that, but it's like there's certain principles and certain things that are just true. And when you apply them and use common sense and you take massive action and you get after it, you can use all of this stuff to make your life way better, help you make, of course, way more money, have awesome relationship, like the kind of life that you want to have. And it's a process, it takes time. But the purpose of this episode is going to be, I'm going to give you 3 really valuable ways they're like frames by which you can look at reality and how you're interacting with reality. So you can really, really always have the kind of state or the kind of presence or the kind of expression where you're showing up as your best self. Okay, so here's 3 ways of looking at it that you're going to get massive benefit from. Again, some episodes I'm going to talk about vision and current events and all sorts of stuff. Other episodes are going to be super practical with like the most valuable stuff that I know. Because again, my whole point with this is I want to see you crush it and dominate. And then like you have a family and a legacy, and then that intertwines with my family and my legacy. And as we do that and have thousands of people around the world doing this, that's literally what changes the world, okay? So let's get into it. So here's the 3 things that's gonna help you come at any situation you have, any time of the day, no matter what happens, you always have total, complete control over these 3 things. And now you can use it to really just get the outcomes that you want. So let's give this example for you coming at things with the state of certainty, with really living the word certainty. Because imagine if you showed up, like all great leaders have fucking certainty. They know what they're doing. They know what they stand for, and they know what they're going to make happen. Okay, so here's the first thing is your physical. It's your physical body, the physical environment, all of that. What is that like when you're not certain? And what is that like when you're certain? I'm sure you have an image in your mind, but actually I would encourage you, write it down. Like really write out, what does certainty not look like? Like if you're uncertain. So you're hunched over, you look all fearful, you're looking over your shoulder, you're like talking quietly, you're, whatever that is, because you're gonna have your version of doing this. And also, pro tip, you can share this with other people. They're gonna see you as being more valuable. So this is the gift that keeps on giving. All right, but now look at certainty. Now, little caveat, real certainty comes from real education and really having principles in who you are. You gotta know who you really are, and that's life, your life-sharing life. You may not fully realize that, but that's planting that seed for you. Now, with that certainty of who you are and what you're here to do, again, you can have certainty, you can have like a fake certainty. And again, the fact of you being like, oh yeah, I'm here to sell e-commerce stores and I'm here to build Amazon. It's like, yeah, you can have certainty, but that's not real certainty. You're gonna get crushed. Real certainty is you knowing who you are as life and sharing that with people and really creating the best possible reality for everyone, like living the golden rule, give as you'd like to receive. So now, with that being said, what does certainty look like physically in your body and how you breathe and how you stand and how you move your hands and how you talk and how you walk and all of that? What does your environment look like? Is it cluttered? Is it dirty? Again, you're not looking for like perfectionism here. You're just looking for what makes sense. Because it's something that you'll start to absorb and it will reverberate into your life. So first is your physical. Second is your focus or your intention, whichever word you like more. What are you focused on when you have uncertainty? That's the first question, okay? Because it helps to compare and contrast. What are you focused on when you're uncertain? Probably a whole bunch of different things, and it's fragmented. And it's a bunch of stuff that you don't want. Doubt, fear, anger, blame, all that stuff. I'm gonna do a whole other episode on how do you really deal with all the shit in your life you don't want, and then what is the alternative that would actually create the best outcomes. That's gonna be a whole other episode. I'm very excited about that one. I'm excited about literally every single episode because all the stuff is straight gold. Like if you can actually process and understand this, really good stuff, okay? So now your focus. What is your focus when you're absolutely certain? Like think of some times in your past where you've been certain. And it may not be big things, like maybe you haven't done all the greatest things in your life yet. But like, are you certain you can tie your shoe? Are you certain you can drive your car and get to your neighbor's house? Like there's certain things that you're certain about. So what is your focus in that situation? Now, if it's tying your shoe right now, it might be automated, but when you were building that certainty, what were you focused on? Were you multitasking? No, you were just focused on the thing. You're focused on the outcome. Okay? So 1 is your physical. So in any moment, you can adjust your physical. You can influence your physical. You can breathe and you can direct your physical. 2nd, you can breathe and direct your focus or your intention in every single moment. So many of you, I know you have the intention. You want to make the world be a better place. You want to crush it. You want to be a good, valuable person for society and all that. But then something comes in and it hijacks that focus and you actually focus on what you don't want. You focus on it going wrong. You focus on it just not going how you want it to be. But the real certainty, really directing yourself, really being that self-leader, focus on what you want, no alternative. And you can build this. It's like a muscle. Okay. Last thing is your vocabulary. You can always, always, always control what words you're using. Now, here's another caveat, because a lot of the stuff that I say, there's like one level of all this stuff, and then there's a whole nother level when you start to use the right tools to really change how you interpret reality and how you deal with reality. Okay? So I'll just give it surface level right now. And for those of you who know what I'm talking about, where you can actually reprogram your vocabulary and really purify the words and everything, that takes us to a whole nother level, because then you can really direct all of your words. But even for now, right, if you're a newcomer to this or whatever, your words that you use and your definition of those words, how is that when you're uncertain versus how is that when you're certain? What types of words do you use when you're certain? Pretty important thing to think about, okay? Now with the words, let me just throw this out there again, plant another seed. Your brain and your body works like a hard drive on a computer. And when that hard drive is not wired properly, it does not matter how many affirmations you do, how much willpower you have, all that. If your definitions of words are automatically linked and associated with different things that are not accurate to reality, like for example, if you're like, I'm gonna be a millionaire, but you don't actually know that millionaire means you have a net worth of $1 million, you think it just means you made $1 million, like that's a word, like that's where your hard drive is not working properly. So you're not gonna get the result that you want. You might get lucky, some people get lucky, but if you wanna really direct your reality and really make it awesome, that's a process of rebuilding the vocabulary, and you can message me about that. Now, with this vocabulary too, when it is lined up, guess what? The words within you create the world around you. And there's extensive amounts of research on this. I'll do an entire episode on vocabulary. But they have found, over time, Johnson O'Connor started the research, and they found that the people with the most effective vocabulary are the most adaptable and they have the highest incomes. And I don't mean big vocabulary, because that would mean that every English professor in college is rich, which they're not. By vocabulary, I mean, what can you do? Because the English professor, his vocabulary is actually be an employee and just teach students. And if that's really what he wants to do and that's his best purpose, then whatever. But I'm talking like, what's Warren Buffett's vocabulary? What's Larry Fink's vocabulary? What are the people that are pulling strings that are influencing millions or billions of lives? George Soros. How he's literally collapsed entire economies if you look at what he's done. What's their vocabulary? They understand the real leverage points in the system, okay? So now for you, having your certainty and how you go throughout your life, and really seeing that, you're gonna have a set of vocabulary for this, you're gonna have a focus or an intention with this, and you're gonna have the physical, how you direct your physical body is mainly what I mean. As you go through your life and you have that, my friends, you become virtually unstoppable if you're aligned with life. If you're not aligned with life, you will be stopped. It's pretty fascinating because I've seen this now for 3.5 years, and it's time and time again. The evidence is remarkable. But when you're aligned with life, if you don't know what that means, that's more of a one-on-one conversation. I can't just put that in a podcast, obviously. When you're aligned with life and creating the best outcome, that principle of always doing the best thing, always creating more, always giving more, always serving, that, taking maximum responsibility, seeing the world as you, as part of you. As you're aligned with that, on a unconscious, automatic level, a programming level, not just oh, that sounds good, but like your body's literally doing that, your physical is doing that, your focus is that, your vocabulary is that, you're unstoppable. I mean, that's now purpose, and that's where we can really start to influence and affect reality. Okay? So if you found some value from this, please like it, share it, leave a comment. If you want to connect further, you know where to find me. If I'm on Facebook, like if you just dig, you can find me. And I look forward to seeing how you apply this, because as this gets more and more common, we're going to have more and more people around the world and around the system that can really be affecting this change. And as that has a synergy, and there's like 2, 3, 4, 5 big movements all synergizing, that's where we're making it happen. So, I look forward to this. I also look forward to 5, 10 years from now. All right. Thanks for tuning in. See you in the next episode.